Welcome back to Duckman Cycles and VW Garage. I'm your host, the Duckman. We're back today with another sunny day right here in Pensacola, Florida. That's right, the sun is out. The last couple days have been kind of dreary, and yesterday when I was trying to record a tech video, it started raining almost immediately right after I shot the Q&A, so unfortunately, I didn't get to do that. I like to try to stay a couple videos ahead, so that when my people up on Patreon do get to see some videos early. The Q&A video, as well as the tech session video that's not to go up until next Saturday, is actually already online for our Patreons over at duckshit.net. If you'd like to climb on board, duckshit.net's where you want to go. Check it out. You know, the subscription starts as little as $2 a month. Anyway, we're down here. We've got the engine to Eleanore, my 1956 Beetle, and if you remember from the Q&A video, I was actually having quite a battle trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do with the carbs. I think that what's going to happen is these two Weber carbs are going to get shit canned. Unfortunately, they're just going to cost too much to put back together, when it just makes more sense to replace them entirely and put brand new on. And yes, that's my phone right now, but we're just going to let it ring. But what I've decided to do, hey, plus points to you if you can hear the ringtone and if you can recognize it. Anyway, hopping back on it, we decided that we're going to go with a stock carburetor. I actually have a brand new one, and you can see it sitting right there. It's actually a new old stock. The thing's been sitting around since, oh geez, probably about the last 40 years, I'll bet you. And I found a manifold to it yesterday. I was going to contact Don at his shop and get over there and pick one up from him. But as I was walking out the back door to go look at the fastback, I tripped over this thing sticking out. And it was in an unusual place, not where I expected it to be, and it's not anything I ever tripped over before. So I don't know. Maybe that was a little hint from the heavens as to what I should be doing here. So anyway, I pulled the thing out. It was wrapped in a plastic bag out in the weather. It was actually on top of a tool bench that's normally out back. Alright, somebody is an asshole. I'm going to have to shout at him for calling me like this. Come on now, that's not work related. Like I said, I tripped over it. It's a little bit rusty, but only surface rusty. I'm going to clean this thing up, throw it in a blaster, and get it looking real nice. Put a quick coat of paint on it. It's warm enough today that I should be able to get some paint on it laid out in the sun. It should dry. And then we're going to put that stock carburetor on here, seal it all up with the proper gaskets. As you probably noticed, the heat risers on the exhaust were never blocked off. And the reason why I haven't cut those and welded those shut already is because I had a feeling I was going back to stock carburetors. So yeah, those are left, and they're going to stay on there, and I'll get that all bolted together. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, pluck that little dingle bell you see down next to the subscribe button, and we get updates every time I upload a new video. Don't forget to check out Duckman Cycles and VW Garage up on the Facebook group page. We've got over 600 members now, and it's still growing quickly. A lot of new guys in there, and you guys are awesome. You guys have just been really, really great to me. I really do appreciate it. And if you'd like to email me, duckmancycles@duckshit.net. We'll be back right after the intro, and we're going to find out what's going on with that phone call. Appreciate you. We'll be back in a minute. Well, anyways, we're back. That phone call came from one of my crazy coworkers. Yesterday was my day off, today is his day off, but yesterday he acted like he took a day off and didn't do a whole lot of anything, which means the work fell back on me today. And, I don't much go for that. You know, either you do your job, or I'll shit can you myself, even though I'm not your superior. Anyways, yeah, that's enough of that crap. So anyway, I had to set the record straight with him, and I've taken care of that. But that's not on any of you guys. You guys really don't want to know about that. But what we're going to do today is we are going to go ahead and pull off this cooling shroud. We're going to pull off some carburetors. I'm going to pull off this gas pump. The fuel pump down there is going to be replaced with this block-off plate because we're going to stick with the electric one that I've got. It's way too shiny for this engine or anything that I'm installing also, so I'm going to throw it in a sandblaster and buff it up real good. That way it has a nice flat color to it. I'm also going to replace the alternator stand. The alternator stand that's under here has this weird filler neck on it, which I just really don't like. I want to put the stock one back on, and I actually do have one right there. So I'm going to clean up that sucker and install that on here just the same. Once we got that done, then the intake manifold goes on. We're going to bolt on that carburetor. We're going to see this thing run, and hopefully it'll run properly after that. So I'm crossing my fingers. Things are starting to look pretty good. So I'm going to set up my GoPro behind me here, get a little bit of the side-to-side action going on. You know, this stuff that makes some of you seasick. I'm going to try experimenting with the speed on it a little bit and see if that helps you out. Maybe try a couple different angles. Yeah, I'm going to get a little artistic, so we'll see how that works out. Anyways, we will be back in just a little bit. First thing we're going to do is get some parts cleaned up, sandblasted, and painted. So stay tuned, guys. Lots more to come in this video. The sandblasting of the intake manifold actually turned out pretty good, so what we're going to do next is we're going to start tearing down this engine. I'm going to set up my time-lapse video right here so you guys can follow the adventure, and we're going to tear this thing on down, put all the parts aside, and get ready to install an intake manifold once it dries from the paint. Here we go. Okay, now this here is something important. This little guy is actually a baffle plate to stop that oil from bubbling up into the oil filler and, well, essentially leaking. And if this is installed the wrong way, you will have problems. Now the way you need to install it is you need to have the scoops facing inwards and to the right. If it's any other direction, the oil will have a tendency to bubble up that inside of the filler and essentially dump all over the ground and all over your engine and make an extreme mess. So this actually was set up the right way, so we're going to leave that alone. Scratching moment over here. I put the generator on top of that pedestal, and I thought that pedestal was for an alternator, but apparently no, it's for a generator, and the alternator doesn't fit on it. So I installed improper parts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that filler neck off of that particular generator stand and put it onto the alternator stand that I removed and put that back together as one piece. Alright, let's see what we're getting into here. I haven't taken one of those apart before. Well, anyway, as it turns out, you need a big flat-bladed, like, screwdriver looking tool that goes inside of there to release that, and I haven't got one. So I'm not going to mess with that now. I'm going to put the old alternator stand back on, and we can always change that out later, and that's exactly how we're going to handle this. Well, lucky me. I dug through some boxes and I managed to find two brand new rubber gogies. These are the guys that go on the end of the end castings and connect to the center manifold that goes through in here. So I've got everything that I need to do it. How I know they're brand new, there's not a single mark on them from the clamps. Now I wish they were black ones. I really don't care much for the red ones. I think they're kind of ugly. But I do have a set of black ones here, but these are used. And you can see the clamping. Well, that one actually looks pretty good. This one has a bunch of clamping marks on it. In fact, this one feels nice and soft and pliable. This one's hard as a rock. And that's the best way to determine the condition of these. This is one of them little tidbits of insight. You can actually determine the condition of it by turning it inside out. When it's inside out, all the cracks will reveal themselves. In this case, there's none. So these suckers are brand new. Not a single mark on them. I don't know how long they've been sitting in that box, but that box has been here for probably about 4 or 5 years. So however long they were sitting in the box before that is anybody's guess. But I got a set, and I also, in that same box, found a set of stock clamps. So I've got everything that I need to assemble a stock intake manifold, and I didn't even have to spend any money. Imagine that. Boy, did I luck out. Alright, we got everything hooked up except for the heat risers on the sides. I couldn't find the bolts or the gaskets to them. I know I have them. I'm going to deal with that later. That's not critical to getting this thing running. That's really only to preheat the intake manifold because it's so long and it stops the fuel droplets from condensing, and it does have to be there, and it's probably good to keep the thing from icing also in the winter time, but in this case it's really not going to matter too much. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing started. I'm going to lower down this camera, that way you guys get a nice view. Boom. Alright, let's see if all of that work that I put into this today is going to make it run. Carburetor is not in tune, but approximately 2.5 turns on both mixture screws. Usually that's good enough to get you in the ballpark. Usually I find myself opening them up a lot wider than that. Let's go ahead and get the fuel system primed for starters and look for leaks. Are we getting fuel? Sounds like the pump is sucking air. I don't know. Fuel pump is unusually noisy, which tells me it's not getting any fuel going through it. Let's see, is it going to squirt up here? Uh-oh. There it is. Made a mess. God, I love making a mess. Fuel pump is now primed. Next, let's fire up the ignition. I should have clicked on our oil light. It did. See if we can get it primed a little bit. It'd be nice if I took the cap off of that so I could see in there. I don't see the accelerator pumping anything. I wonder if any fuel's making its way into the bowl. Then we may have a stuck float. Okay, something else to look at. I'm not sure what the dealio is over here. Okay, it's definitely flowing. Flowing with a vengeance, even. Well, let's go ahead and pop off the cover. Check the float valve. There's a possibility with this carburetor having sat for so many years that it might have just got stuck, glued itself in there. That was exactly what was wrong. That was actually shoved in and stuck. Now it's free. I'm gonna spray a little carburetor cleaner down in that just because, but that was weird. I can't say that I've ever seen one do that before. And you know, I almost forgot, I gotta cap off all of my little vacuum leaks too. We're not using any of these vacuum lines at all. I don't know where my little rubber caps are. I already know without even trying to look. So I'm just going to take a little piece of tape and just wrap them. This will get it going tonight. So that way I can fire this thing up. I'm going to leave it this way. This is bullshit. Alright. Power up that fuel once again. And let's see if we get the accelerator pump to pump. Alright, I see it's squirting now. We're good. Alright, let's put some ignition to this thing and try to crank this bitch over. Oh, hang on a second. I want to hook up my oil light here. That way I know when we're getting oil pressure. Seeing a fuel leak coming from somewhere here. Can't tell where. Is it the fuel line? The slow drip, but it is leaking. But it runs. Let's see if we can solve that fuel leak. Yeah, everything is wet on top of the carburetor. It has to be the fuel line here. Maybe this clamp sucks. Go ahead and dry that fuel off. Yeah, you gotta admit it started up real easy even when it was cold. Let's go ahead and hit it again. Fuel line is oops, I just knocked the fuel pump off. But the fuel pump had been pumping the whole while I was walked away, grabbing some tools. Let's go ahead and hook this thing up again here. I forgot I disconnected the positive over here to shut it off. There it is. Alright, fire it up again. Now that was intended to happen. I actually disconnected the fuel pump because I wanted to run that carburetor dry. And I'm going to say that we've had a huge success today, that this sucker runs f***ing great. One of the problems I am having that I can tell is there's probably a vacuum leak somewhere. I haven't figured out where yet. Because I tightened up the air screw all the way and the thing is still running. Ordinarily it should stall by now, but it kept running. So yeah, there's definitely something going on there as far as vacuum leak is concerned. I'll find it and I'll fix it, of course. It shouldn't be any of those vacuum line inlets. I actually got them all capped off with tape, and I put my finger over all three of them to see if it made any difference, and it did not. The choke is doing what it's supposed to. The little fuel plunger on the side is doing what it's supposed to. That little guy right there. This thing sounds great. You did probably notice there's a little bit of a pop sound. It's not valves. That sound you're actually hearing is the heat risers right here because they don't have the bolts in them on either side. So you're hearing that popping. When I actually did push down on the manifold a little bit, that noise went away. So I'm going to see if I can find the bolts to it, let this thing cool down, and we're going to reassemble it, and we're going to try to run it one more time. You should be able to hear a tremendous difference in the sound. Alright, I got some excitement here. I'm really happy about this. This is just f***ing fantastic. Okay, we're going to start this thing up one last time tonight. I've got those little preheater tube flanges bolted down on either side with a nice gasket put in there. I've got the light on, as you can see. So, it was getting a little dark out here. And this is the last time we're going to fire it up tonight. So, let's see what it does and what it sounds like. Very quiet. I think it sounds pretty damn good. Still a little bit lean. I'm not sure why that is. I checked for vacuum leaks earlier, didn't find any. So it's probably going to be some settings in the carburetor that need to be adjusted. I did put a bigger jet in there. Stock they have a 127.5. I put a 130 in, but I might need to go a little bit bigger than that. One of those things I need to think about, because when I hit this, obviously it's not revving up like it needs to. So it's telling me it's running a little bit lean. Choke is doing what it's supposed to. When the engine's cold, of course, which it is again right now, see it's engaging. It's getting nice and warm, so it does open up after it runs for a minute. But getting it to idle can be a tricky thing sometimes, and it's doing that, and it's doing it well. So, and the oil leak on the right-hand side is almost stopped. I'm still going to have to look at that a little more closely and figure out what's going on there. Look all that bad. It's a lot better than it was. Typical small jet situation. That's exactly how it behaves when it's too small of a jet. Alright, I'm so happy. It was like way happy. This thing is just running fantastic. It's quiet, and I don't think it's going to blow up anytime soon. just like it's supposed to do. How about that? Fantastic. Oil light comes on just like it's supposed to. Everything's good. Everything is way good on this. Just gonna need some adjustments, nothing that's too big of a deal. Yeah, Duckman's a happy camper. Well, thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for sticking with me through this project. This thing has been a lot, and of course it's still not done yet. We still got a lot more we need to do with this engine. In particular, I got to get the carburetor tuned now. It might be running lean, and I'm thinking one of the reasons it is because the exhaust header that's on here is going to lean it out considerably. It also doesn't have an air filter on it, although when I put it on there, it's still kind of lean. But at idle, however, also seems like it's kind of lean. I can tighten the idle screw all the way, and there's no vacuum leaks detected, so I don't know what that is a symptom of. I have to do a little research on that one. That's something really bizarre. Really bizarre. Unless there's something behind that air screw that's causing it to not go down all the way. Because typically when you tighten that all the way, the engine will just sputter down to nothing and then stall out. But I've got it about half a turn out, and it's idling respectively, but I think it should be just a hair lower than what it is. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please click like, please comment, please subscribe. Please pluck that little dingle bell you see down next to the subscribe button, and we get updates every time I upload a new video. And don't forget to check out Duckman Cycles VW Garage up on the Facebook group page. And if you'd like to email me, duckmancycles@duckshit.net. Thanks for watching again. I mean, really, thank you guys for watching, and I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll be back again tomorrow. We're going to do a little work on this carburetor, maybe see if we can find some bigger jets for it, and we'll go from there. So, until next time, take care. We'll see ya.